The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has postponed the governorship and state assembly elections till March 18th. The exercise was previously scheduled to hold on March 11th, but INEC, citing a logistics crisis stemming from beavers configuration and transportation, said that the election could no longer proceed as scheduled, following a meeting of its executives on Wednesday evening.
The Commission had earlier on Wednesday convinced the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal to vary its order, granting Peter Obi of the Labour Party and PDP's Atiku Abubakar permission to inspect the presidential election materials on the premise that it had to reconfigure the beavers for the conduction of the polls this Saturday. And of course, that's a statement from INEC detailing the rescheduling of the governorship and state House of Assembly elections and their reasons why this has been done. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Wednesday, of course, was also in court, and it's one of the things that we did get to share with you. Of course, he attended the court proceedings with his lawyers over the party's legal request to inspect the bimodal voter accreditation system machines and other electoral materials used by the Independent National Electoral Commission, on the February 25th elections. In a statement Peter Obi shared via his Twitter handle on Wednesday morning, said that he had decided to cancel his campaign trips to appear in court with his lawyers and accompanied by supporters of the Obi Dati team. Now, joining us to speak on this is political and parliamentary analyst Fred Itua to give us an update on this. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Itua.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning.
All right, quickly share with us what the outcome of this court case was.
Okay, well, the court case is like one of many appearances that will happen in the coming months. Probably to still be there until after the swearing of the president-elect. So is probably the aspect that the public may not be privy to is the rally kind of appearance that Peter Obi made. I'm not sure how his supporters who refer to themselves as obedient got wind of his appearance, and the court was packed full with security agencies finding it hard to curtail the excesses of the supporters who insisted that they wanted to join him inside the courtroom. But as for this case itself, it just started with the court granting INEC his wish to reconfigure the beavers, that's the technology they will use in conducting the governorship polls. Although there are also reservations about that as to whether or not allowing them to configure that will not tamper with the evidence that Peter Obi and Atiku team have said they want to inspect and see how that goes. But again, INEC has assured that they have a back-end arrangement that whatever had been uploaded is safe somewhere. So the arguments are on both sides, and depending on which side of the divide you belong, you may want to insinuate or probably have your doubts as to whether or not INEC can be trusted to keep the data that will be needed as evidence during the long stretch of the litigation. So these are the key issues that transpired yesterday.
Okay, let's talk about, you've mentioned the fact that INEC has talked about them having a back end to be able to save the data, and that shouldn't be an issue of concern. But what we've seen is that a number of people have raised concerns about how well they trust INEC not to tamper with that. So, is that something that you also have concerns about? We've seen a lot of tweets of, people insinuating that this could be a possibility, especially because the president-elect also has access to it. INEC has access to it, of course. The Labour Party does now have access to it as well. Are there concerns? Is this a widespread feeling about the fact that, it might be tampered?
Yeah, there are concerns, especially in Abuja here, where if you met with civil society officials, people within the diplomatic circle as well, the media, and other stakeholders in Abuja where the litigation is ongoing, there are concerns that INEC cannot be trusted, not because it is difficult to do so, but because it has not given any good reason why Nigerians should trust what it is saying. The closest example was what transpired before the election. INEC had come out to tell Nigerians that everything was going to be done electronically in tandem with what the Electoral Amendment Act 2022 stated, that every election result shall be transmitted electronically. But INEC, despite his repeated promises, even on the morning of that election, reneged on that promise and relied on an aspect of the law many of us are still trying to understand, of which we know does not exist, to rely on manual collation. So since INEC failed in a simple test of being trusted by the electorate, it will almost be impossible for the same commission to tell Nigerians that whatever it has collated that is safe somewhere and that cannot be tampered with is, of course, those who have won, we believe in that statement, but for the obedient and article supporters who feel that their candidate was cheated out, that is a very tall order for them to just swallow without having their doubts. So in this case, INEC should be blamed for creating that room for doubt. And if eventually tomorrow it comes out to allege again or claim that his database was hacked with all the stories, it will just be another long story that Nigerians will not buy into. So if INEC want Nigerians to trust it needs to earn that trust, and not just by saying that, okay, trust us to secure this, when they were given opportunity with millions of Nigerians registered, were not unable to vote. And some say alleging that their vote did not count eventually because INEC was compromised. So the trust deficit is there. For how INEC will handle that, especially his chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, is still a discussion we are still having, and how that will pan out is still very uncertain.
All right, I want your thoughts on, for those who say that, INEC may have disappointed them, because I've seen a few people put out the model of the BVAS device itself, and they've said that, this device should be able to hold multiple elections without you needing to reconfigure anything. It has enough space and enough, the way it has been made, basically, you may not need to reconfigure it to carry out multiple elections. It has been, the device basically can do more than that. And so can we talk about that? And then also, when INEC is having to shift governorship elections and is having to reconfigure BVAS and is having to, go through all these processes, does it say to you that INEC was ill-prepared for the whole process of the presidential and the governorship elections? Does it say to you that after spending more than 300 billion naira, INEC did not imagine that there would be court proceedings after the presidential election? So it should be, have it in mind what must be done before the governorship election, because it all seems very scattered.
Now, for a start, the first argument, which is still very much acceptable, is the fact that why INEC has refused to conduct every election in one. Now, it's the same energy you expend in conducting elections separately that you expend doing it in one day. You will save costs, you save the issue of logistics. All you need to do is to have 2 extra papers, ballot papers, that will have the name of the governorship candidate and that of the House of Assembly. It's the same process. And we keep asking, which we've also asked INEC chairman at several fora, why can't you have all elections in one day to avoid this friction, this voter apathy, and all of that? And the man has not given good reasons on why they have settled for what they have. And again, INEC had no reason to fail, because every request that he demanded from the administration of President Buhari, he was given. He had a series of meetings with the leadership of the National Assembly, that the Senate President Ahmad Lawan and Femi Gbadagbamila, and he was asked, what do you need? And every item he requested for were provided. And for some reason, he also defaulted in keeping to that. Even the same Electoral Amendment Act that was passed, technically, INEC drafted that bill. They asked INEC, do you have the capacity to conduct elections electronically? And they say yes, that they had that capacity, and that where there were few friction or issues, and they will be resolved. So it was based on INEC's promise that it could do that the National Assembly passed that bill into law with the support of the president that INEC had assured them. But INEC, unfortunately, if it's not deliberate, of course, sabotaged that trust that Nigeria kind of gave the commission. Now, the issue of reconfiguring the BVAS is a bit new. INEC did not tell anyone that it needed to reconfigure that machine before it could be used for governorship. We were never told. They suddenly a case is in court, and INEC, which is very magical in this instance, is saying that he wants to reconfigure BVAS. At what point did he tell Nigerians that this was going to be done? The INEC going to be saying that at some point there are going to be litigations that people will take them to court so as to avoid all of this. And if INEC, if the court, for instance, had not ruled that INEC should be allowed to reconfigure, would there have been a constitutional crisis in the case of not having governorship and state house of assembly elections? There are questions asked, and whenever as INEC chairman is reluctant to provide answers, and the man who is delegated to respond to this question, that is the person in charge of voter education, is not doing a good job. Whenever he asks him questions, he rehearses what is known already. So INEC has not done an explanation, and if it needs Nigerians to trust that the process will be seamless and that the issues raised will be addressed, they need to talk more and do more as well. But on the question of whether INEC was prepared, it appeared it was prepared to fail because everything needed was provided, but the expectation and the outcome of what it did was far below what Nigerians had anticipated.
Prepared to fail. Interesting way to put it there, but of course, these are very, very important aspects. Well, let's quickly share with you our viewers this morning. Ms. Aito, you could also watch this. We, of course, did a quick survey on Nigerians, about the BVAS idea, and if Nigerians maybe need to kick BVAS away and go back to our previous way of conducting elections. So let's quickly share this with you, and then we'll be back.
Well, the BVAS is okay if INEC really want to be fair, truthful about the election. I think the BVAS is okay. It's transparent and it's okay.
About that, I feel like INEC has lost their integrity. Like people used to, before the election, people believed in INEC that with their new invention and all of that, things will work out well. But the result is not what we expected, and it's really sad to know. So I don't think people really trust. If people will do that, it's just out of their own intention, not because of INEC. INEC are, they don't disappoint us.
As a matter of fact, there is no perfect election in the whole world. This is what we have. We just have to accept it. Rome was not built in a day. If there are some challenges in their BVAS, definitely this time around they will move up their game. You can hear the chairman, INEC chairman Professor Mahmoud Yaga. He said we have some challenges, and that challenges it is correctable.
The BVAS, according to innovation, would have been better. The BVAS would have been better, but already I don't know how it really operates because we don't even have lights already safe to even say, because that thing you cannot operate it without lights now, Abi. So it's like a mobile device, and now that we don't even have a steady electricity, and if they will use BVAS, I will choose BVAS, and if BVAS is better.
Guy, for Nigeria, even they use that in BVAS or they use manual. Now the same result. The one where they want, now they go call. So the person where me I like, or the person where you like, they don't care to call about the person where they want.
Well, there you have it. A few people losing faith in the whole BVAS idea, and of course, there's still some, who are, holding on, to modifying, of course, Nigeria's electoral process, and its leadership recruitment process. Mr. Aitwa, what do you think, might this whole court cases, where do you think it might lead with the Labour Party and the PDP and, their arguments, to the court?
The outcome cannot be predicted, but if you rely on precedent already said, you can safely predict what will happen. Now, two people are laying claims that they won the elections. Peter Obi is saying he won. Atiku Abubakar is doing the same, that he won the elections. And they are both asking the courts to rely on evidence of what they are presenting to declare them winners, which is technical on his part. Then the second aspect is we've never had any case, at least in recent history, where the courts annulled a presidential election. And if you also understand how the Supreme Court operates, is most of the time does not rely on law or common sense. It's like a policy institution. It gauges the mood of the people to know if a decision will cause some political arrest. I know that Obedient and the rest of them are quite hopeful that the courts will deliver judgment in their favor, thinking that they've won. But it's like a very long walk to freedom. And if that happens, it should be first. But I doubt if that will occur. There are also arguments again as to if constitution was breached in declaring Ahmed Bola Tinubu president-elect because of a Supreme Court judgment in 2007, if I recall very well, where it had ruled that for you to be declared president of Nigeria, you must win 24 states, and that 25 must score 25% in 24 states, which is 2/3, and 25% in FCT before you can be declared president. And the argument that the current president-elect did not score to 25, which means they ought to have been a runoff. That's another argument. So the court will be dealing with several technicalities, and the three of them, which now stand on the tripod, they've hired very good lawyers. And you know, it's also a harvest season for lawyers who convince their clients, even when they know that they have no serious case, to go to court because of the good return they intend to get. So that's on the life side book, but it's a good season for them. And I will also advise Obedience and the rest of them to lower their expectations.
Okay. You have said you'd advise Obedience to lower their expectations, Obedience and the rest to lower their expectations. We'll find out what it is. It's an ongoing case. I will have you again when results are out. Thank you for joining us this morning.